Hello and welcome to day 2 of Sporting Index's Cheltenham Festival preview. I'm with Barry Geraghty once again today, and happy St Patrick's Day, Barry. Wonderful day for the Irish yesterday. Not so good for us at Sporting Index, I can tell you, and the rest of the industry. But we were quite lucky that we avoided complete and utter carnage with Concertista, which I still can't say today, just getting done on the line.
Yeah, well, I was cheering her home. Obviously, Epatante ran well, but not good enough. Honeysuckle, sure, I couldn't see that performance on last year's form, but she really stamped her authority on the race, and it was a massive performance, a great result for Rachel, Henry de Bromhead, the Mayor, Kenny, Alexander, everyone. So it was good for racing. Definitely good for racing.
And how did you feel yesterday watching it? I for one, I have to say I was really missing Cheltenham, seeing those when the sun came out and seeing the hills and everything. It was just gorgeous, wasn't it?
It was beautiful. I'd love to have been there, obviously, but it's just, this is the world we're in, what can we do? But it's very different for me, not being involved and watching it. It's a different buzz, but I'm really loving it, really enjoying it. The quality of racing, yeah, as a spectator, it was just brilliant.
I mean, I don't know what everyone else is doing out there. I was on a Zoom with 5 other people yesterday, over-exercising my liver, and just enjoyed it. Wasn't a profitable day for me. The only shorty I backed, unfortunately, was the horse I can't say, Concertista. Oh, I just said it. There you go. Anyway, we're on day 2 today, and we kick off with a fairly competitive Ballymore Novices Hurdle, the 120. I will give you your prices here. So we are Bob Ollinger 7-4, Galliard de Menil 2-1, Brave Man's Game 4-1, and 9-1 bar.
I think this is a matchup between Bob Ollinger and Galliard de Menil. Brave Man's Game was good in the Challow, but the Challow doesn't have a great record of producing Ballymore winners. So I'm not fully convinced about the strength of that race. And the English novices have been, you could say, taken apart yesterday. So I don't see any change there. So I think it's a matchup of Bob Ollinger and Galliard de Menil. And I am slightly siding with Galliard de Menil. He was good in Leopardstown. He travelled really well, jumped really well. I thought he laboured for a little bit to get past the runner-up over the last and just laboured to pull away. But he won well at the line. But just looking at his action, he's a real good mover, and I thought he'd benefit from better ground. So it's for that reason, but you're maybe splitting hairs here. I think these are 2 very good horses, and there isn't a massive amount between them, but I just think the better ground might just bring out a little bit more improvement in the Willie Mullins horse. I won't try and pronounce his name again.
Actually, before we move on, overnight, Simon Clay said, no rain overnight. It's good to soft on all 3 courses. And there's no rain forecast, and there's a bit of a drying wind. So any thoughts on the ground for these 2?
It's going to dry, but you'll probably find it will still be on the easy side of good for the first race. You'll find it's closer to good for the champion chase, and you will find it to be good ground by the bumper. Whether that's official or not, but it will be good ground by the bumper if it stays like it's forecast to be and how it is this morning.
Very good. Right, so we move on to the 155, which is the Brown Advisory Novices Chase, another Grade 1. Our betting here, as I get it up, is very short favourite in Monkfish, 4-11. Eclat de Rire, 10-1. Big Breakaway, 10-1. Sporting John, 12-1. We have got a few specials actually on this race. If you're looking at sort of backing horses to win by distances, Monkfish, as I read it out, is even money to win by 6 lengths or more, 6-4 to win by 8 lengths or more, and 9-4 to win by 10 lengths or more. But I'll let you talk about the race and see, can you see Monkfish being beaten?
I can't see him being beaten. I suppose as regards the distance, the only thing to take into account when you see Appreciated won yesterday by, what was the winning distance? It was 15 lengths or something massive. But that was on slow ground. On drier ground, they generally don't get away from the field as much. So Monkfish is by far superior to the opposition, but on better ground, he mightn't just get away the same kind of distance as Appreciated. So personally, I'd be going on the lesser maybe. As regards the race itself, he's going to be very hard to beat. He was brilliant the last day coming back on trip, having maybe been, we thought he might be slightly vulnerable coming back to 2 mile 5, but it was even more impressive. So if he turns up, he's going to be very hard to beat. But it's a very tight race between the next three for me, with the big breakaway, Eclipse Rear and Sporting John. If you didn't have Monkfish, this would be a real classic between these three. I would slightly side with Sporting John. I think he's a horse who's just still a little under the radar, having underperformed last season in the Ballymore. He struggled on his first run this year. Then he won his grade 1 on his next run in Sandown. And he did well to beat Shan Blue. He jumped really well. He got good experience that day. I think the step up and trip is going to suit him. So I think he could be value to maybe be next best. But it's a tight one between the three of those, I think. But Monkfish is head and shoulders.
Well, we will also have a betting without Monkfish market price up a bit later this morning, so please do look out for that on the website. Now, the 2:30, this is, I don't know, have you ever won the Coral Cup?
I won it twice. I think Sky's the Limit, then the company last year, and Horse Michael Buckley's.
Oh, yes.
I can't remember his name now at the minute. 3 times.
Good effort. It's always obviously a race where horses are prepared tenderly, let's say, for this race to protect their marks, and it's a great finish. And you often get sort of 10 or 12 just coming to the last together, and I always love the Roar because someone's always backed something at a massive price here, and it's just a great race. Have you got any views here, Barry? In our betting, we've got Grand Roi as 13-2 favourite. Craig Niesh 8-1, Kashari, and I think that's another one for Rich Ritchie, 17-2, Guard Your Dreams 9-1, Blue Sari 10-1, Monte Cristo 10-1. It's very competitive betting. You find the winner of this, you'll have a nice payday.
I think so. Grand Roy is a horse. He had a good run in Nace. He was second to Bacchusson. He did horse of no means back and third. Beacon Edge was good form. I think he's going to be better stepping up and trip on better ground. I've ridden him his last 2 pieces of work, and he's worked well. So he's in good form, which I would like to think anyway going into this race. But he's in good shape. I think he's the right one at the head of the market. There's been good money for Nicky's horse, Niche. Where's it? Craig Niche. Yes, sorry, Craig Niche.
Craig Niche, yeah. Yes, it's in from 12s into 8s.
Yeah, he won a handicap last time in Ascot, and he got £12, and it looks like Nicky's put him away for this. He's limited with experience, but he looks like a fellow with definitely a little bit more in hand. A horse who I do like though, and I was a little bit torn between him and Dame the Company last year, was Birchdale. I schooled it to them a few days beforehand, and I just came down on the side of Dame the Company because I felt Birchdale might improve for fitness. It was his first run from November last year, and for experience. He had a recent run on the all-weather where he finished third in a jumper's bumper, which he wouldn't be a jumper's bumper horse. I think there's a good improvement on him, and he's about 16 or 18s, is he?
He's actually with us 12-1.
Maybe there's a few quid from so. I think he's worth a few quid each way. Just an interesting one.
I think the owner might like the odd wager, Birchdale's owner, Mr. McManus. So maybe he's had a few people out, not in betting shops, obviously, but going through the websites. Right, so now we move on to the big one, a race you certainly won, and my fondest memory, as I was telling you before we came on camera, was on obviously Moscow Flyer for the first time. Here can Chacun pour soi be beat? It's 4-5 with us. Put the Kettle on 9-1. Politologue 10-1. Nubi Negre 10-1. First Low 14-1. So Royale 14-1.
I don't think he can. I suppose the question marks over him would be the track. Obviously, it's his first time to run in Cheltenham. He got to made it to Cheltenham last year, but didn't get to run. So we can't judge him because he's never been there. But he won in Gorham Park, which is a little bit undulating, if you like, but that was on very soft ground, so it probably doesn't come into play so much. He's a very good horse. I think on form, he's head and shoulders above the opposition. And if you're to look at his 4-5 and compare it to the 11-10 yesterday with Honeysuckle, I think he has less to beat. So I'd be very sweet on Chacun pour soi. Drying ground might be a slight negative for him because he's such a big horse. I think he's a proper 2 mile stayer. but I can't see what's going to beat him. Where I think there was more strength and depth in the Champion Hurdle yesterday, just to make a comparison. So I'd be very much in Chacun Pour Soi. As regards the opposition, Celius Emery, I had tipped up on a show I do at the races at 50-1 a few weeks back. So I'm hoping for him, but I would just be slightly afraid of the drying ground for him. And it's a bit like that for a lot of them. I'm kind of struggling to make cases. Politolog, I wouldn't be so sure about. Green Teen, this Notebook, I think he wants further. But the horse who does thrive on good ground and has pace and has good form against Altier over the years is School Royale. What price do we have on him, Chief?
Well, 14-1, Sir Royale.
Yeah, I think he's worth a little each way. I think he's an interesting one on the drying ground. I think they won't be far off good ground at that stage.
One thing stat-wise, I will tell you, I know you're not concerned about his previous Cheltenham run too much, but 12 of the last 14 winners have had a previous run at the course. It may mean nothing, but I just thought it was worth highlighting.
Yeah, but it's a competitive race in the place market, I'd imagine, but I think he could be just value. Put the Kettle on. She was well held last time. I don't see her getting anywhere near Chacun Pour Soi.
Fair enough. And now move on to the cross-country race. Actually, a course that Sporting Index was involved in building all those years ago. And the favourite has come over from France, which is great news. Not for Neil, who did our Cheltenham preview, who's backed lots of other things each way, hoping this may not travel. But Monsieur Courtin has sent it over, ridden by Felix de Giles, and our 5 to 6 favourite. Obviously, a hero of the track, Tiger Roll and of Aintree, 5-1. Some Neck, 10-1, and 14-1 Bar.
Yeah, well, Easyland's last year's winner, very impressive. Disappointed here back in the autumn, but we'll forgive him that. He is the worthy favourite, and you'd have to go with him. Tiger Roll, his form hasn't been amazing this season, and he's been ruled out of the Grand National as well. So I just wonder if they're expecting much of a show from him today, because he's been below par. Maybe he's still below par at home, and they're not fancying him for this or the National. It could easily be his swan song. So it's hard to get excited about Tiger Roll. You mentioned Some Neck. I think he's a good each-way bet. He won here back in December. John McConnell, who trains him, has a great strike rate in England. I think he was 3 from 4 before yesterday. So he's a shrewd trainer. He's kept him fresh since December and trained him for the day. I don't see him beating the winner, but I think he could be next best, or beating the favourite, should I say. But I think he could be next best.
Well, a bit of value at 10-1 there. Yeah, one stat here that stands out to me is there's only ever been one English-trained winner of this race. There were 2, but one was disqualified any currency afterwards for banned substances. So I think the only English-trained winner was Balthasar King of this race. So I think anyone coming over with a horse here has got a very good chance. We'll move on to the 4:15, which is the Johnny Henderson Grand Annual Challenge Cup Handicap Chase, Grades 3. And this is a horse, obviously, that race that Mr. Henderson would love to win, but it's not going to be this year, I don't think. So we have got Embittered as our 9-2 favourite, En Tout Cas for Joseph O'Brien, 7-1, Zanza 7-1, Chosen Mate 15-2, Iblio 9-1, and 12-1 Bar.
Yeah, it's a wide open competitive race, obviously. I came down on Antukas. I thought he had a good run in Leopardstown last time. It's a different race this year because it's moved from the new course to the old course, which is much sharper. There's more emphasis on pace, which could, it could be difficult for novices coming in here with limited experience. So I've gone with Antukas as one of those novices, but he has 5 runs and 3 of those are in handicaps. So he is, I would hope, unexposed, but yet has a relative amount of experience. So I think Antukas, and he's each way value, I'd imagine. So I would like him. The other one I thought in there was Amudo Gold, should I say. Skeltons has good form with First Flow from earlier in the season, was second to Sky Pirate last time, but seems to be improving, has experience, competing at a good level, and I'd say a fancy price too.
16-1 actually, and I agree. And Dan Skelton's really been scooping up lots of handicaps this season, hasn't he? As well as lots of graded races. And it'd be interesting if Bridget Andrews or Rachel Blackmore win this race. They will become the first female jockeys to win this race, which would be nice to see. particularly if you back them. Then we go on to the lucky last, the bumper. I think Willie Mullins has won this 11 times of the 28 runnings of the bumper, and he's got a strong favourite here in Kilcroot, 6-4 with us. Second favourite he's also got is Sir Gerhard, and Cheveley Park, I think, going for 3 in a row here. Then after that, we got 3 Stripe Life, 8-1, Ramillies, 11-1, 18-1 Bar. How strong is Kilcroot's form?
I don't know. I think he leaves as many questions as he does answers. The lads in the yard felt that Patrick was riding the wrong horse the last day. That was on soft to heavy ground around Leopardstown. So it's a very different kettle of fish here today. They all thought he should ride Ramillies. And that's the horse I think is good each way value. Obviously, his work is very good. Different conditions today. He was ridden more prominently in Leopardstown when they went so fast in that race. And I think he paid the price for going so hard. And as I said, better ground, different track. I think he's a pace horse. And I would be inclined to side with him each way. A horse I do like as well is 3 Stripes Life of Gordon Elliott, or he was Gordon Elliott, he's now Denise Foster. I've ridden him work and he does go well. He's only had 1 run, so he hasn't much experience, but I would be inclined to, there's no value in the top 2, Kilcroot or Sir Gerhard, and they're 2 very good horses. I probably have a little bit more faith in Sir Gerhard because he won a slow run race in Navan and showed good pace, where Kilcroot maybe picked up the pieces in a war in that race in Leopardstown. As I say, it's going to be a different sort of race here today with the drying ground and a sharper track. So maybe slightly Sir Gerhard of those 2, but I would be inclined to go for value with 3 Stripes Life or Ramillies is probably the one of most interest.
Well, 3 Stripe Life is 8-1 there, Barry. It seems a bit of value there. All that said is left for me to say is good luck wherever you are today. Make sure you enjoy yourselves. Get involved with friends, do Zooms, whatever you need to. Enjoy the brilliant coverage. It's going to be sunny there, so you'll have wonderful TV coverage again. Wherever you are, remember if you're spread betting, losses can exceed your deposit. And if you're on our fixed odds site, please remember to bet responsibly, and it's 18 plus. Barry, thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow, and enjoy St. Patrick's Day. Thank
you, Chief, and best of luck to you.
Thank you very much. I need to repair yesterday's damage. Have a great day, everyone.